In this tutorial, we are going to go from this to this in a series of ways of selecting skin to balance out split toning, look creation, and cinematic styles. So let's get started. So no matter what look we're creating, no matter whatever color grading we're doing, we always are fighting trying to make the skin look correct. So in this kind of like breakdown, I want to share with you the different ways you can go about to make the skin look correct. Because if it doesn't, no matter how good your look is, it's still gonna look strange. Because we as humans, we know what skin looks like. So we are quickly triggered when we see the skin don't look right. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to use the technique of split toning, and I'm gonna do some like kind of extremes, and then I'll go and fix the skin. So what I want to do is focus more on like being creative, and then thereafter go and fix the skin. Be creative and then go fix the skin. And I think that gives you as a colorist the most option. Because if you constantly just trying to fix the skin while you're creating a look, that might, kind of make you feel, oh, I can't be that extreme in my look, or I can't change this, I can't change that. So in this way, I'm trying to get you to be comfortable enough to do whatever creative thought you might have, and then go thereafter and fix the skin. But to fix the skin, I'm going to show you different techniques in sampling the skin and correcting it. So let's get started with that. Let me put in let's go here and put in a DCTL. DCTLs only work in the, how to say now, the studio version of DaVinci Resolve. So bear that in mind. Let me put another one down here, put 2. I like to use 2 quite often because the blend of the two does give it a nice style that you normally can't pull off at times. But when you have like 2, let me correct that, let me undo that there. When you have 2 on each other in a parallel node, they like blend and mix, and then you create something new, something creative that you normally, as I said, you don't normally get. Or you could get it, but then you have to do a different level of effort. Okay, so the first thing I like to do whenever I'm using a split tone, I like to put it up high. So push it up high so I can see what it's possible, so I can watch it extreme, so I don't have to be fighting with nothing subtle. So this one here has, and this isn't a tutorial on using split tones, but I just want to give you an idea of what this one does. Let me turn on the curve. So this one here, you have, it determines in which direction the, let's say, the bias will be, if you're gonna be more heavy in the shadows or you're gonna be more heavy in the highlights. So I just putting it in the middle. Highlight hue, so that's going to determine what color are we going to be having in the highlights, right? Okay, and then you have whether that highlight change is going to be happening in a subtractive way, as in darkening, or we're going to have it in an additive way, as in more brightening. So let's, and it has the same thing for shadow, the exact same things. So let's just reset this, and then let's start here from scratch. Let's now just create a look and then go from there. So let's push that pretty high. As you can see down here and here, it's changing. And then let's set, let's first do the shadow hue. Let's see what color we want there. Let's add a curve. Let's see what colors we want in the bottom part. We're gonna go that direction. And then in the highlights, then we see what colors we want up in there. Let's go for that one. Now, one of the key things, kind of a way that I constantly thinking about things, one of the nicest ways to keep the skin in an all right place is by it being placed within the neutral zone. So this split tone has a place where it says is the neutral section. How wide or how shallow that will be. So it affects more and more of the skin. So let's go in a bit closer, and you can see it starts, you can see it underneath here, whether the space in which this sits is getting affected or not. A lot of these split tones have that feature, not all, but well, a lot. The ones that I choose quite often have this feature to give you that space where you can let the skin just sit. So let me reset that, and we can go and give that a bit of a width. Let's increase, let's put this full screen, and then let me pivot. That says how far up it is, and now I have it like kind of touching the skin a little bit and leaving the higher parts not touched. I like that it can be seen as being in that environment. So in that way, I like to sometimes push it up a bit. It takes over more of the bottom part, which is a nice look. So let's see here. Yeah, and let's highlight hue. Let's see what we're doing. Okay, so then we have before and after. Now the thing is, I'm not bothering with none of the balancing, exposure, contrast. I just want to get to the point where we could start to mess with the skin. So now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to turn this one off. And I am going to do the same thing. I'm going to push the strength of it. Start by pushing the strength of it. Now this split tone is more focused on contrast, not so much as messing with colors. So this is where I create the contrasty look, and the pivot is, let me turn on the curve, and the pivot says where this twist would be happening. Move that a bit, and then it's happening lower down, which then more coordinates with where the skin sits. So we could go to there, and it's just what you want it to be. Okay, and then we can say in the shadows, what color would we want? Now, mind you, this is going to blend back with the one that we had before, and that's going to give me a look. So right now I'm just looking at this saying, what do I want this to look like on its own? So we have that. Turn off this. Now let's see what the surprise is going to be. Now, this, we dialing back a bit. Now, if I want, let me see here. If I want the skin, now we're going to start to mess around with the skin to push the skin back out to be more healthy, more stronger. So let's look at the different ways we can select skin. One simple, fast way is you just simply come in here on the skin and you can push the skin back in. Easy, very quick. It's already given to you. Now the thing is, if we do highlight mode, we can more easily see where the skin actually sits to define what actually is skin, where this particular skin is sitting. So I move it down and I am noticing that the skin sits more deeply. It's not responding yet. Yeah. So the skin sits, I get more selected if let me see, it's higher or if it's lower. It's more lower. So then I know, let me turn this off. So yeah, so now we have the look in place. Just now I had the node turned off and I didn't realize it was turned off. But here it's very quick and easy. So if I put on highlight, I can, as I was doing just now, I can more easily dial in where the skin actually is. Then you come back and then you can make that change easily. As you notice, I could pull in the skin. One thing I want to say, if you are doing color grading, what I could have done is I could come in here, put on a power window so that the effect happens there. and not so much affecting the background. But here's the thing about this. So it can be affecting here too if the skin tones is present in the background. But in this case, it isn't really affecting. There's nothing that has that skin tone color. So in this way, very simple, we can adjust the skin. We could do what we want with skin, darken, lighten. And quick fix. We already have where we want to be. We brought the skin into the direction that we feel fit at. And here also gives you the option to change the hue that the skin has. We can make it more magenta or less and go over while looking at this. So we have the power to drive the skin in that way. This is very straightforward, quick, done, and you on to the next. Let's bring this down a little bit. So we have gone from this to this very easily. So the thing is that when you come back here and you make changes, those changes may affect what you've done here, and then you have to go back here and then make a touch up again. But you always have to be going back and forth until you get to the point where you need to be. That's one way. Now let's look at another way of doing this. We're going to take a complete different route. Let's bring this back down a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Now, another way we can do it is the good old HSL selection. So what we do, let me see here. Okay. So what we do is we select the skin. Let me turn on the highlight mode, and we have a pretty good selection as it stands. Now, looking at that, you'd be like, ah, perfect. But let's see if we can make it a bit better. We go here to the low soft, and we even getting a better selection. Less things are present in the selection. Anyway, twist and turn, we will put a window around it, but I think this is even better selection. Let's clean black. Clean black is everything that is not a part of the selection. So then it clears up that. We're even getting a better selection. Then clean white is if there are any holes inside of what is selected, that then gets cleaned up also. Let's see what we could do there. I even went a step I skipped a step actually. What we could have done, let me see, to go back here, let me see if I can do it still in this order or we'll just redo it, is to select this, go with the feather. The feather gives you more, let's say a better transition from the colors that you've already selected. So what we have now, what I believe to be, and then increase the blur a bit, what I believe to be is a pretty good selection. So let's turn off this. Now, within this, let's adjust that skin tone. So only the skin tone will be changed right now. And we can do it like this. You can say we want it more red. We want it less that way. And we are looking here at this and also looking at the screen, because sometimes you can look at a vector scope, you think you got it and you don't. Let me pull this down a bit, pull this over a bit. Oh, it got caught up. Let me go back up to here, pull that there, a little less down, and there you go. Now we've pulled the skin into the realm of where we want it to be. And with the HSL qualifier, I think we've gotten a pretty good skin selection. And you have a bit of the color from the scene is still happening in the skin. Let's see if there's a lot of noise. Not much noise. As you can see, it's a really nice soft gradation. And like that, let's zoom in a bit. Like that, we have a nice look, a nice skin going on. It's blending nicely. So that's a second way. Now let's try something new again. Let's go to this one. Now, what we can do too, we have this here, the Chroma warp. This is a very powerful tool because as we select the skin, we can see down here and we can move it into the direction that we would want it to be. So we have that selected, and let's just move it more into the realm of reddish. Let's see if we get in there. That's more purplish. Let's go up. Yeah, this is starting to go in the direction that we want. And we are keep going up, and a little down, a little over. And that's about where we want it to be. So now we also did the color grading or skin correction. And now you can see before, after. You see, so we maintain the skin as it was before pretty much, but still within the realm of this look. So it still blends in. Okay, so let's do another one. Another way to select the skin. Let's go into also here in this tool, but then let's go to this one. So let's increase it to 24. Now the skin, as you can see, sits here. It's selecting this little dot. So you can go here or the top dot. Okay. So let's go and select here and just move it ever so slightly. Let's see to get the skin like that. Less greenish. And we are almost there. A little less red, a little more so. So yeah, now we've got a skin also now corrected. Same thing. Before, after. Now, if we say that's a little too reddish, too saturation, we come across here on the dials and we move the dial down a bit until we get to the spot where like, yeah, that's a good balance. So now we have the skin once again very cleanly selected. So what I'm trying to show you, there are so many ways to do this properly. Now, I must admit, I've been doing it for quite a while, quite a number of years. So it will take you a while to get your bearings into, let's say, getting it so quickly, because you have to know where to select and when to realize, oh, I would be going down the wrong path if I continue like that. So I'm just trying to give you a kind of like, here is all the options you have that you thought you didn't. Okay, next. The other way to do the selection is to go into this again, but this time we go into the 3D qualifier. Now, with a 3D qualifier, what you have, let me move this more so you can see a face. What you have to do is you have to click and select. Okay, now that there looks pretty good. Well, let me turn this on. That's a really good selection of the skin. But let's see if we could add a little more to it. We go, let's pull back here, watch her hands. See if her hands stay pretty selected. Yeah, that's this. And her skin here on her neck, we would want to select. Oh, that's gone wrong. Let's undo that one. So let's look at that again. Let it take a moment to catch up. It's not updating yet. Okay, so this is a pretty good selection as is. Let's see, maybe just select her hand a little bit. And I think that's as far as I would want to go. Let me see if that's a pretty good selection. Yeah, I think so. Let me see here with the hand. Let's try that again. Try here. Yep. Okay, now I think, let's see, the hair is a bit selected. Let's go back one and go back one. I think we had a pretty good selection before. Yeah, this looks pretty. It's a bit more tricky to do this one. I can't lie, but we will get there. I think, yeah, I think that's good enough. Because remember, we can put a window around it, put a window on her face, put a window on her. So I'm not even caring or looking at anything else. So that is now selected. And now with that selected, we can come once again, jump out of there so that that marking of face gone, and we can move the skin in the direction we want. And there you have it. It's also now corrected, and the skin is in the place we want. Before, after. So let's jump through the different ones. There's this one, there's this one, there's this one, there's this one, and there's this one. So like that, you see how we were able to select it in multiple ways and correct the skin and bring it back into the place that we think it should be. And all of these, when you look at these, let me see where this was corrected. This was corrected here. All this, if I want, I could bring it back slightly, and that will be good enough. Brighten it a little bit. Yeah, and here we can say add a little more saturation to all the colors. Yep. And we have her skin now in the direction of where we want it to be. So I hope this helps you to see how many different ways you can correct skin, bring them back into balance, and focus on your look first. Do exactly what you want in your head, and don't worry about the skin until afterwards. So what you saw me do is add the look, then went back and changed the way the skin is interpreted. Let me do one other thing. Let me see here. Let me see, the color warp, I think, is the one I want to play with. Oh no, let me keep it simple. I'm gonna add one more thing, the color creator, the film look creator. Now that, as you saw, that added a different look to it. So what, once again, because we have the skin so properly selected, we have the option to change that. Now I can do this, and I can say, well, let me change the hue a bit. See if we like the hue in a different direction. Let's see how strong that is. See in which direction it goes. Pull this down a bit. And if that isn't working, or this, okay, here's a funny thing. So I'm using the skin to do the selection. So on this node, let's see here. Let's pull this over a bit more, so to that way. Let's push it more so again. Okay, cool. So now we're having, oh, I'm seeing an issue happening. It's taking the whole window. Let's reset that. This, and good that it's happening live. So in this situation, this doesn't offer me as much options as I have when I've chosen to select the skin directly, such as, let me see which one that is. That's with that, yeah. So in this case, let me see what we can do here. This would offer me a bit more options, and the one that's going to offer me the most options is the one where I use the qualifier to actually select the skin. Here's where I am using this here. Let me see here. Open this up large. So we are saying we want the skin. Let me see where I want it. I want it less green, but also a little less red and more neutralized. Okay, we are there. Let me go over so. Let me push that up a bit. And we are getting there. Yep. So as you can see, sometimes the planning ahead could help you with understanding where you want to go with the type of color, let me say, color grading, film look that you want to go, because with the slider, I was just basing on the skin tone and I didn't have the, how you said, directly selected only this. I didn't have a mask to deal with. Whereas with this one down here, it was that I was on the particular color itself, where I can shift this in the direction I wanted. The slice has this sort similar, but as you see, I found this to be more user friendly for me to get to that endpoint. So let me take another look here, push it over there a bit, bring that down, push that over. And what I want to do, see, increase the chroma range, increase, decrease, see what the effect of that is. Now let's reset that, and exposure, bring down the skin a little bit in exposure. And let's see here, it has a, see if I like the color a bit less over there. Let me look at a vector scope, see how it's swinging it, bringing it back more red. Yeah, and a bit more up. Yeah, no, a little bit less saturated. Yeah, okay. So that is now baked in like that. And see, so we can also update it because this came in and did a special thing with the skin. So we go and we tweak the skin again to bring that back down. And if we decide, you know what, let's bring down that saturation a bit, because we did get a little carried away on the saturation. You always can bring down the saturation, use the tools as normal next to that. It could be after it, it could be before it. But yeah, so that gives you, I think it gives you quite a broad, how to say now, a broad view of the different kind of selections you have and the things you can do, and just focus on your look instead of worrying too much about the skin from the get-go. I hope this made it clear. I hope this gave you new ideas, open your mind to things, and possibly make you rethink the things you think were possible or not. Because I think when we're being creative, we don't want to be thinking, oh, I could go down this rabbit hole and I could get trapped. You know, we want to be creative as possible. And I hope this is going to help you to get that creative freedom that you are, which all of us are looking for that matter. So yeah, so on to the next tutorial.